Blessings to Africa. Yes, blessings everywhere. Green vibes. Alaji.
So welcome to the founders. This is Martina Mwanza and Mr. Danny Mwale. It's an honor to be with you today. You can see in the background, you're enjoying yourselves on this lovely Tuesday evening, afternoon, as people are stuck in traffic on the way home.
Great cup of coffee, yeah.
Drinking your coffee.
Yeah. And you know, green vibes just around us.
Exactly. Perfect. Fits the theme. Okay, so let's get to know a bit about our founders. Who do I start with? Who's ready to go under the bus first?
I always do the difficult part. I don't know.
That's not true.
You break the ice for everyone.
You know, instead of breaking the ice, you know.
Yeah. Okay, so Danny, give us a brief background about yourself. Who is Danny Mwale?
Okay. I don't think there's much to talk about me, but I come from a process engineering background. Mm-hmm. And also a business administration background. Mm-hmm. And I think that in each one of us, there's an artist resident there. Uh-huh. It's probably a matter of time when that artist trapped in yourself wants to come out and do a bit of, artistic activities. And I think for me, I should thank my colleague here. She's the one who, I think, to a very significant extent, helped that artistic person in me to come out of its cocoon, and begin to get involved, in art. And I think for me, it's a great experience I've gone through. I think this whole thing started in 2014. It significantly changed the path of my life, and I love it. I love to do this. I love to do it with my colleague here.
Martina, you're next.
Okay, let me start emphasizing that I'm not Zambian. Mm-hmm. Although, despite my name, because when I say Martina Mwanza and sometimes I'm calling people on the phone, they get really surprised when they see me in person. You can see it in their face expression, like, are you sure this is Martina Mwanza? So yes, I'm not Zambian. I was born in Czech Republic. Mm-hmm. Although over the years, because I've been here for 10 years, I tend to think that I'm Zambian accidentally born in Czech Republic.
That's a good one.
That's how well I feel. I blended in. I love this country. I love what I do, and I wouldn't, place myself in any other country at the moment.
There's so much truth in what you said,
Yes. So it's really a
Zambian, sort of born in Czech Republic.
It was a small accident, but we corrected it. At least I'm here. We found each other. So it is exactly the way it was meant to be. Mm-hmm. My background, development studies. That's my discipline. I liked it very much. It's actually due to development studies that managed to bring me to Zambia, where I did my master thesis in 2010. And I love this country so much. I met my husband here, so I decided to stay. And at the first years of my stay in the country, I was lecturing at the Zambia Catholic University in the same field of development studies. And because of, development studies, the nature of the same course and the experience that I had from my university on how students are supposed to be active and you always participate in certain activities, I really felt that there's nothing much around happening. And so I wanted to get creative and start something that would, carry on. And that's basically the genesis of the festival. I'm sure we'll touch it later.
Yeah, awesome. Okay. So then how did the two of you meet? Because one is in engineering, the other one's in development studies at the university. When did the paths cross?
I think Danny tells the story very nicely.
Yeah, interesting story, because I think it all starts with the Lusaka International Film and Music Festival. There's a lady there called Charity who crossed paths with Martina, and she had interest to get this thing done on the Copper Belt as well. And then at the time, I was actually at the Kito Little Theatre doing business management for the theatre. So somebody pointed her to me, Barnabas Kangela, that meet Danny, maybe he can help facilitate this.
Actually, we owe Uncle Barney big thank you for, linking us up.
Yeah, as a matter of fact. So there's this particular day she turns up at the theater, and I think we were standing outside chatting about it. And the moment she mentioned that, I said, wow, I think this is something that I've been waiting to do myself personally. But at the time, we were going to do it through the theater committee. So I was agreeable with that. And then I said, okay, let me, present this to the council and then see what their take will be on it. Otherwise, myself, I bought into it immediately. And I think that later, that same day, I invited her for a drink into the clubhouse. And we had an interesting drink. And I think we spoke further about what this thing is all about. And that was actually the way we met.
And actually, Tara, I'm sure you also met someone, and you just say a few lines, and then you're thinking, oh my gosh, I know this person. Like, it's just flowing. In such that, after introductions, Mrs. Manza, Mr. Mala, I think we went straight into, kind of very familiar base. Like, we've been really, understanding each other. Like, we were meant to meet. It was really great meeting. And thanks to the Lusaka International Film and Music Festival, the idea that I had to start the festival was to blend in the university students. So they take it as a kind of internship, and they are learning something new. And because I didn't want to start something new completely, I believe in supporting existing structures. So that's how we link up with Charity, and she was very much agreeable to spread the Lusaka Festival into other provinces. And that's how we managed to organize the first edition.
Yeah, she's got such a great sense of humor. And it's amazing. I thought my humor was weird, but she caught on to it so well. And I think we spent like the next hour just, having a good laugh about it. And you could see that this is genuine. It's not that someone is trying to make it up. And so that really played so well into the effort that we're going to do together.
Yeah, also, let me just also add that the first edition of the festival, because we are working with the Lusaka dates of the festival. So we had basically 14 days to put a Kitfa edition together. And there was nothing like, too much to, like plan or sit down. We just kind of knew, and then we just said, we invited schools, we put the program together. So in those 14 days, the first edition of the festival was born.
Trust me, it was a crash program. Because I'm asking the dates. I said, okay, so when is this going to be? And then she mentions the dates. I'm looking at the time frame. We're looking at 2 weeks. So it was really a crash program. We had to go to schools, take invitation letters, secondary schools, colleges, universities, and she keeps saying that, why didn't you push back and say, okay, we don't have much time? Why did you just say, okay, let's go with it? But I guess, that's what happens in your life when you meet people like her, so you just go into it.
But yeah, it's a very bad combination, Tehila, because, I'm daring myself a lot. So I wake up with a crazy idea and I call it Danny, what do you think? We should do this. And what I'm expecting from my colleague to say, that's a little bit too much, maybe we should not. But he's the type of person who say, oh yeah, okay, why not? Let's do it. And in my heart is like, I was hoping you would say no. Yeah, so that's a background.
Oh my gosh, you guys are dramatic. But you can actually
that's an understatement. Trust me, there's no drama to it.
Yeah, having worked with you, it's definitely an understatement.
But we also have a high level of endurance, and I think that is helping us a lot.
Yeah,
True.
That one personally, as someone who's worked with you guys, I think over the last 2 years, I've seen that. Like it's like SOTAMBE is natural it's almost like, yes, it's a company, but it's a natural thing. It flows naturally. So it's like it was designed to go against the grain, like you guys just defy programs and schedules. It's like, look, let's get it done. So great
yes,
to hear.
exactly.
So speaking of SOTAMBE, the name, where did it come from?
Okay, I'm happy you're asking. Because after the first edition of Lusaka Festival in Kitwe, it was really confusing. I got a group of students from Catholic University who were helping me, they were fundraising, they were a really great team. And then I was asking them to help us to come up with the name. And I'm not going to mention the person who actually came up with SOTAMBE, because at the 10th anniversary of the festival, we would like to invite her and, thank her for the brilliant name that she gave us, because I think the life of the company, or every company, lies in the name. And the name SOTAMBE, when she just said it and she explained to me what it means, I just felt like this is it. It's easy to remember. People will love it. And I think SOTAMBE is in the hearts of many artists in this country at the moment. So I'm really grateful to her. And we'll definitely work with her at the 10th anniversary, and we'll make a big celebration out of it.
Okay, that's nice. The fact that there was the voice of a young person has now defined an entire organization. That's just something.
True.
Yeah. So what is the vision of the SOTAMBE Film Institute? I think I'll direct this to Danny.
You take me back, I think, like 3 years ago. And our vision really is to deliver a film festival that is of international standards. And somewhere along the way, as part of the effort to get to that, we've had a lot of collaborations, partnerships with, organizations that have a similar, sort of objective in what they do. And looking at where we are now and where we came from, all the signs are there that this will be an exceptional film festival. And I think it already is, because I think by 2019, we had one of the best film festivals that we've ever had in this country. And it was so exciting because we were thinking 2020 was the year we would do that. But I think it probably came a year earlier. And then, and we're all so excited about 2020. Unfortunately, towards the end of 2019, the COVID-19 pandemic, hit us all. And I think that from 2019 towards the end of the year into 2020 until now, this thing has progressively disturbed a lot of programs that would have loved to do in a certain way. But we're very optimistic that that effort of getting this festival to that level is going to continue despite all these challenges that we're experiencing. That's our vision. We would like to be one of the top film festivals in the world.
Okay, let me just add to that. Apart from the festival, because people are a bit confused about the name of the organization and the festival itself. So we started as a festival with the vision of really becoming the biggest film festival in the region and having international standards. But along the way, because we started also the training programs for the youth in the country to help them, build up their skills in filmmaking. Then we were looking for the better name that would represent the entire company. And so was it 2016, 17, 2018?
2018.
2018, we changed our name officially from the SOTAMBE Festival into SOTAMBE Film Institute, so that it is an organization that carries on the trainings in filmmaking. We would like to grow in that with the help of other partners and the sponsors. But also, it is an institute that organizes the SOTAMBE International Film and Arts Festival, which is currently the biggest film festival in the country. And with the vision that is growing, I would personally love that in the next 5-10 years, we would be able to represent Southern African filmmakers at the Cannes World Film Festival, having like a SOTAMBE stand, showing the Southern African productions to the world. So that's where, we would like to be heading.
Okay. I think we have
just to add on, just to add on to that and sort of expand on what why the name change in 2018. The process of building capacity, we did it through workshops, master classes, but boot camp. And we were thinking that maybe we can, sort of elevate this to a level where people can actually graduate with a certificate in filmmaking. And I think that currently we do not have an establishment in this country that would offer a program, like probably a 12-month program, and then you graduate with a certificate. And so that builds again into, the bigger picture of what we're looking at doing as the SOTAMBE Film Institute.
Okay, that's actually a very important fact in terms of separating the festival and the institute. Because it's true, I think some people were not sure which is the mother body and which is the sub,
Yes.
So it's very easy to mix up the two. So Can you run us through the planning of the festival? How do you guys sit down with the planning from the theme to the execution?
Oh, wow.
The genius is here.
You want us to sell our secrets.
And the genius is here. And we do the first film festival, and then she's like, okay, you know what we're gonna do? We'll have to make a commitment already for the next film festival. And I think that was the beginning of the brainchild of planning in this institute, because before we even get to the next year, we already have dates. So, which means then we begin already to plan the activities that will build up to those dates. But this is the genius here, so she may add more to that.
Okay, I wouldn't call myself genius, no, but somehow it flows. And personally, I'm still learning as we are going, ahead with this thing, and it's growing in front of our eyes. And I think in 2019, that was the first time ever I realized that the festival might have overgrown us to the extent that I was thinking we cannot do this ourselves. There's just too many activities. There's just too many. The vision is too big that we are sharing.
Yeah.
So many activities that we want to get done. So many people want to get involved. We want to work with so many organizations. And so, the administrative process of running this festival is extremely, extremely heavy. As you mentioned, we are setting the dates of the festival on the current film festival. So even now I can tell you the dates for the next year. In between the September and December, we are trying to think about the theme. We are trying to think about the activities. We've write the proposals. But the structure is that the 1st January, we are opening the call for submissions to the Southern African filmmakers and the filmmakers worldwide who can actually submit their films to us. The call for submission runs up to 1st June. Used to be 1st July. We had to push it because the submissions are getting a lot and we need proper time for our judges, to go through all the submissions. So up to the 1st June, you can submit your films, and then the judges are going through the judging process and selection process for about 2-3 months because it really gets overwhelming. In the meantime, we are trying to also plan our filmmaking boot camp, which is the only training camp in the country of that kind of nature, right? It's a boot camp where people meet, and in 4 days they produce a short film. You are part of it, so maybe you can also add to your experience, Tehila, on how the boot camp is done. It's a lot of pressure, but people love it, and it's really entirely unique to the country, which I personally like the most.
Oh, by the way, just to, I don't know what you said. We are so pleased that we're working with you.
Too much.
Oh, thanks.
Look, I mean, you exceed all the expectations that we ever had or we ever imagined by far.
It's an honor. Really, it is an honor to be with the Film Institute.
The honor is ours.
Yeah. If I'm to add my perspective as someone who's worked under you guys for the festival, I can just say, basically, anyone who wants to work under you better buckle their shoes. It's so, what I love about it is it's organized, but also spontaneous. I don't even know how it does it. But even with like working with Martina, even in the background, I can agree when you guys are saying this vision is bigger than you, because when she gives me the layout of the festival, I'm already like, wait, how many months do we have left? Because it's such a lot. But I think for me, it's really spoken a lot about what SOTAMBE is about. Like even looking at filmmakers and the video team, it's journalists, the way they operate, you have to be ready. Immediately you hear a news story, you have to be there. You can't wait until you're comfortable and your brain has processed everything before you take action. No. You have to be ready to be spontaneous. But you also, one of the things it's taught me personally is I've had to learn my strengths. And I think that's what SOTAMBE does, because it's so multifaceted. We use local talent, we get internationals involved, like people are going to see for our master shares and that sort of thing. Like it's not a box, but it's still got some kind of a structure, which is very interesting.
Yeah, thank you so much.
So for me, I can say that's one of the things I appreciate about the experience. I was even telling Martina about that the other day. I was like, honestly, I don't think there's another organization I know in Zambia that can offer me this on the go, do what you can sort of thing. So
that's the madness of her.
Yeah, that's
she introduces fear in you, and then over the years, the thing is, within the fear, there's a silver lining. Fear sort of drives you to achieve certain things, so that you don't look back and say, okay, we didn't achieve this, we didn't achieve this. So it's like a motive force. It drives you forward.
Okay, I would like to say something to this, what he said. I've never forced him to do anything. He has a free will of, saying, Martina, this is too crazy. I would understand. Okay, just that never happened yet. But also, okay, to the spontaneity. Trust me, I'm a very organized person. I work on the film festivals as a student, as a volunteer. I know how it works. I know that there are deadlines and, things needs to be done way ahead of time. But this country somehow keeps me on my toes. Because up to last minute, the confirmations are coming on the last minute, the uncertainty that we work with, the pressure that we work with, it's just so high. So already I was talking to someone today and I was telling him about how many activities I had to cancel this year because I know I won't be able to do them. But until yesterday, I planned for them. I was pushing Tehila to do something. I was asking Mildred, I volunteer to do something because in my mind is, okay, it can happen. If it doesn't, we need to have a backup, or I need to be ready myself as a person to say, okay, this is not going to happen. I can cry on later in the night, whatever, but I have to move on. So that also, makes us be ready to, it either happens or it doesn't. But either way, the filmmakers have assurance from me and Danny right here that the festival will always happen.
Yeah.
In no matter how small way it will happen, because I think one of our strengths is continuity. Resistance.
Yeah.
So we don't want to be the organizations who will say, okay, there's no money or there's COVID or there's whatnot, so we are not doing anything. It's something that we always can come up with, no matter how small it is. And I think that that for me is very brilliant that I work with Danny on that one, because he always backs me and say, okay, let's do it like that, which I really appreciate.
Yeah, and I think just to add on that, I agree with the continuity, because one of the things that I do admire about SOTAMBE, like I kind of briefly touched on, you don't wait for everything to be in order before you take action. Literally from idea stage, you're already like seeing the end. And it's like, what? And I think that's really a message to every type of potential entrepreneur, business person, whatever. You don't have to have all the money there before you can start. You don't have to have all the connections. You don't have to have, COVID absent and whatever. You just do what you can with the idea you have. If circumstances are beyond your control, alter it to adjust to the circumstances, but don't cancel it. So that's
why we are working with you.
Yeah.
This is exactly the reason why we are working with you.
No, I'm really honored. Yeah. So,
but okay, Tehila, sorry, just last thing. I don't know who is listening to this conversation, but when we started the festival, I think at the the early ages, it was mainly, we did it because we loved it. We never maybe planned the huge vision on the year 3 of the festival. But then as we go along, I've also did a lot of research on the film festivals, and for the festival to be fully established, it actually takes about 10 years. So it takes 10 years of consistency, you know, the dates to be set, you set certain tempo of the organization, certain culture of the organization, certain soul of SOTAMBE, the way I call it. It takes 10 years for people to know that, okay, next year, I need to get my film ready because SOTAMBE is going to happen. And we are in the year 8.
Yeah.
So next 2 years are going to be enough for us to really prove that this is what SOTAMBE stands for. And I must say that thank you to all the sponsors and partners who ever work with us that are helping us to actually continue with what we are doing and grow to that level that 10 years will passes and people know, okay, SOTAMBE is happening. And that will be really beautiful. And then there will be less pressure for you, Tehila, also, don't worry.
Yeah, really.
We might come up with additional
I always
programs.
believe the bigger an organization gets, the more pressure, because now you're on the international market. So yeah, don't worry, I'm ready. I'm so ready.
Beautiful.
So you guys have mentioned that you've had past festivals and we're now on the 8th edition. What have been, from the past, what has been your highlight? And if I can put it, your low light in the festival? Oh, I think maybe, I don't know if I can say specifically the festival itself or through the planning as well.
The low lights. Every year there's a low light, Tehila.
Okay, now, trust me, I think that our greatest challenge right from the beginning was financing, to get this thing done, because like you mentioned earlier, which is the truth, an organization may start with one individual or two individuals, but as you progress, you know, the amount of responsibility that falls on you is so much. And so you will need extra hands to, you know, get it going, and then you can achieve your objectives. And so financially, it had been extremely difficult from the first year itself into the second year, into the third year, and we kept doing proposals and meeting with corporate houses, you know, lobbying for funding in a certain way. And then the people that we work with could then, you know, sort of appreciate that whatever input they're putting into it, you know, there's some kind of a reward. And I think that initially we had, this will happen maybe 3 months before the festival, we'll identify our team. And now over the years, we know which people we work with. Now, because of the financial constraints, you know, you spoke about, which I actually understand and know very well over the years, that, you know, even in the absence of finances, we still believe that it's going to happen. And so our biggest, I think, sort of positive change in terms of financial requirement was in 2017. Yeah, when MultChoice made a commitment to actually, you know, sponsor the film festival. So in my summarizing the low side of things, I think to a very large extent than anything else was actually the financial constraint that we actually had to hit every year that actually came through. And as you would expect, that would then affect certain, you know, aspects of your program that you laid out to achieve in that particular year.
Yeah, because Danny is talking about the finances. You know, in 2017, we had the first major sponsor who actually saw the value in what we are doing. But imagine that is festival number 4. So the previous 3 festivals that happened were basically, you know, covered by me and Danny. And I remember, I don't know, it was festival number 3 or the 4th one. We stood under the ATM, you know, drawing the last money from our accounts. And I remember I was only telling Danny, I hope my husband won't notice that so soon. so that he can only get upset after it's done. You know, because I was very much aware that, you know, these are not my money, it's a family money, but, you know, we're kind of stuck and things had to be done. And so we basically financed the first festivals. But as I mentioned at the beginning or earlier on, we are learning as we are going. And so at the beginning, I thought that the festival first on my and Danny's shoulder, because it's our organization and we do it and we love it. So we are there to make sure it happens. But my view kind of changed by the very fact that I realized that the film festival is not only for us organizers, but it covers and cutters across different, let's say, industries or different businesses.
Yeah.
For example, if you host the festival, you know, we are able to bring in international guests, international filmmakers, stars, you know, celebrities. These people need to be accommodated somewhere. So we would like to develop partnerships with the lodges. Would like to develop partnerships with the you know, owners of the bars to create additional programs. So when the guests are in Kitwe for a period of 5 days, imagine that, you know, every day there should be some kind of a program. So I can tell my guests, okay, in the meantime, relax. You can visit this this restaurant, or you can go to this, you know, activity. So the festival itself, for me, over the years, is no longer me and Danny. It's not just SOTAMBE. It's what we created, a higher platform, and I would like to cover for everybody. And so it is a joint effort. And with that way, when we're approaching the sponsors these years and the last year, I think we are very much aware of the fact that it's a collaborative effort. And the festival is a national event. It is not the Kitwe, you know, festival. In 2019, we had literally filmmakers from each corner of this country.
Yes.
We had the celebrities from Zuba and Pali who came for the festival. Those are the guests we would like to appreciate by treating them very well. And for that, we need partnerships and we need sponsors. So I think on the lower side, yes, the money sponsorship, but it also keeps us growing.
You know, sometimes, just to add on to what she said, sometimes she'd ask me, are we very normal people? You know, we're doing this and there's no financial gain to ourselves and we don't have sponsorship. But there's something behind that, which is what plays into the key objectives that motivated us to do this thing, to create capacity amongst the youth in filmmaking, to create a platform where, you know, the young filmmakers, even the established ones would actually, you know, showcase their projects, you know, share their experiences with their friends, their colleagues, you know, and then people begin to understand that the process of, you know, doing these projects is not on planet Mars. It's actually in Zambia, and you can do it. The people who have gone through very difficult times. And when you see these young filmmakers together and they're sharing experiences, it's so exciting because one will be saying, oh, so you went through this, and then I also went through it. And you know what that does? It creates confidence in them to actually progress with that great idea they've always had, you know. So that plays into, you know, the objectives that really drove us into doing this. And I think over and above everything, to us, that was more important than actually ourselves. You know, there's so much talent in this country. And, you know, we're trying to create that platform where, you know, young guys can come together, you know, share their experiences with those that are established and, you know, get the motivation to move on with their projects.
And the partnerships and collaborations. You're asking on your lower experience and the high one. And I think for me, high one was the 2019 festival. Exactly what Danny was saying. You know, we had a really upcoming filmmakers and established filmmakers being in one place. We had people from Malawi, Botswana, Zimbabwe. They all came to Kitwe to attend that time. It was 9-day festival. It was one of my crazy ideas. Danny was blasting me for it all the time, but it happened. It was great. Okay, so all these filmmakers were in one place, and not only did they manage to create a short film during the festival period, which for me was like one of the best moments in my life, to know that the filmmakers who came, they created something together and they continue working together beyond the festival, which I think ultimately that's another objective that we have, to put people together and promote collaborations and partnerships across the region of Southern Africa. But then also when we had I don't know, VIP cocktail or, you know, one of these events that we had at the festival, and it was again Uncle Bani Kanjela who came to say, I literally feel like this is Cans of Zambia. because I see all the colleagues, all the celebrities, people were here. And for me, I will remember that for the rest of my life. And this is what I want to create at each and every festival.
No, that's actually awesome to hear, because hearing both of you speak, it sounds like, okay, so when you have a company, right? Corporate social responsibility tends to be the last department or the last aspect put in the company. But for you guys, it's like corporate social responsibility is the company.
We are very responsible, socially responsible.
But
how would you say that?
Yeah, but like for example, when you're saying the youth, I do know, if I can make mention, for example, this year, Martina, you did mention, you did advertise that you were having the Chimwemwe project, where the US Embassy got involved and they're working with young people who really could not afford that kind of, class. But even in then, I know some of the people who came as teachers and, lecturers are people who are known, people who have been in the film industry for a while. And if not for platforms like that, they wouldn't be able to connect. They wouldn't be able to meet these people. And, it's about bridging that gap. And I think SOTAMBE does a brilliant job in doing that through your boot camps, the festivals. Now you're trying to become a more formal institute where lessons, people can actually take on a certificate and that sort of thing, which is really great. So for me, I can safely say that, SOTAMBE really has quite a big vision, I must say. But to agree with what Mr. Kangela said about, the kindness of Zambia, is it possible to say that could actually be one of SOTAMBE's visions for the festival? Are you seeing that? Like, do you yourselves as the founders see SOTAMBE getting that far?
Yeah, like I initially mentioned, sort of the whole idea is, to take this to that level, and obviously it's a lot of work to be done. And maybe I could use this opportunity to, sort of to appeal to corporate houses out there, the government as well, that we will need support. And I consider the film industry in this country as a low-hanging fruit in terms of creation of employment for the youth, revenue contribution. If you look at countries like, it may sound cliche, but if you look at countries like Nigeria, you'll find that contribution to the GDP is like 1% from the creative industry, and in terms of absolute amounts of money they, so make out of it is more than $7 billion, dollars. That's a lot of money. The same story goes for South Africa. The same story goes for India. So in my experience with my best friend here is that
partner in crime.
In
good crime.
Partner in good crime.
Only good crimes. There are no bad crimes here.
Yeah, so I think there's more to it in the fact that you could almost instantaneously begin to, create more and more employment, for the youth. And I think when you see things going in that direction, it excites us a lot. It will excite us a lot.
Yeah, I mean, just adding on to even the statistics that you've mentioned, do you know that just in 2018, in the US, about $69.9 billion worth of revenue came from the media space? I mean, that's in billions. And
yeah, there you go.
They've influenced culture globally. Like, they don't even have to come to Africa physically. It's through the television, it's through media, it's through music, it's through all these things.
Yep.
This is really what SOTAMBE is about. It's the film and media space. And so I think one of the things that SOTAMBE is challenging is the view of arts in the African context. Arts is usually seen as the extracurricular activity you do when you're not at school, when you're not at work, when you're not trying to make money, rather than using that as a form of expression to make money. I don't know if I can put it that way. And so you guys are really breaking barriers in terms of the mindset. Because if you look even at my generation, us young people, yes, we want to work, but frankly speaking, we get bored easily behind the desk. We like being active. You know, look at the trends that have come out just from Africa. We've got our Chimwemwe dance, which we're very proud of. We've got all kinds of music. Just look at the campaigns that just in this last election, the campaign, the way there were so many, just the memes and the videos and the music and whatever, it created such an influence that in itself was a campaign strategy. You didn't even have to go anywhere physically, just use social media. So if we can begin to harness that space, which is what SOTAMBE is doing, we really can make an impact, particularly in the SADC region. Because I know SOTAMBE is not just about Zambia. I believe right now we're trying to expand our borders with the SADC region and whatever. I know with the boot camp we had, you know, Malawi, Zimbabwe, Botswana come in, you know, it was no longer just restricted to Zambia. And it's those breakthroughs which really should be applauded. So maybe as one of my last questions, maybe I can ask, what would you encourage the young people to do? So before I go there, just to highlight, as someone who's been in SOTAMBE, you guys, like you're saying, you're really trying to promote the youth, help them grow. A perfect example of someone who's really benefited from this organization is Paul Willow. I mean, we've got the Maria Christou movie. He's no longer, we know him from like some of the soap operas we see in Zambia. He's now moved from actor to script writer to directing a film that is now going international. So what would you say to those who think, I can't make it? You know, using the Paul Willow example, what advice would you give us young people who have that aspiration?
Interesting you mentioned Paul, because from my own perspective, is a great young man who's very self-motivated. And if one tries to read or understand his story, he has had his own challenges in life. But as a person, he set up a goal for himself that I'm going to achieve this, and he's moved towards it. Our excitement is in the fact that we've associated with him as a festival. He has made submissions to the festival. And we are not part of the judging team. We appoint an independent jury to do that. And for them to have selected these movies as winning movies and a script, winning script, and then he gets to Cannes and gets 3 different awards. What does it say for SOTAMBE? I think it's a great story. Now, for me, that's where the harnessing collaborations comes into. Would you imagine Paul Willow meeting another young filmmaker and they're sharing times? He has got a great story. I had an opportunity to actually listen to him on one of the virtual meetings. And when he speaks about his story, somebody else would have given up so easily. But despite the challenges that he experienced, he kept going forward and kept going forward, and there he is. It's a great story, but you know, could you imagine him, you know, sharing time with young filmmakers from Chimwemwe? Thanks to the American Embassy for actually, financing that project in Chimwemwe. We are very grateful, and you know, when those young men can have an opportunity to associate with Paul, I can only imagine what will come out of it. And that will be a great project. And I think for us, that is very exciting. And, you know, it sort of gives us a lot of impetus to, you know, actually progress with all these efforts that we're doing. If you call that crime, we'll continue committing it.
So I was just going to ask, for the festival for this year, what can people expect? Like what should people look out for? Some of the things they can look out for.
Yeah.
Okay, so the 8th edition of the festival is happening on the much smaller scale. It is partially obviously due to still ongoing COVID pandemic and certain restrictions that we would like to follow as a festival. It has a lot to do also with the, you know, the lower levels of sponsorship, which I'm sure that hopefully next year we don't have to go through such.
Yeah.
The festival will open with the masterclasses on 21st of September. I will share the program, so I'm not going to, go through each and every date, but we would like to say thank you to Garden Court Hotel in Kitwe, who is hosting the entire film festival this year, which means that from Wednesday up to Friday, from 9 hours up to 21 hours in the evening, anybody can come and attend the screenings, which will be taking place at the Garden Court. The screenings are free of charge. So you can take your family, you can take your wife, you can come with your friends and just watch the productions. Some of the productions will be followed up by the discussion with the present filmmakers. So you may get into an understanding how the movie is actually produced. Yeah. And in the morning, we are having screenings of documentary films, which are aimed at the schools, pupils and college and university students. And then on Friday, I would like to highlight that we are having a red carpet premiere of Atsani, which is a brilliant and amazing Malawian production. So the crew from Malawi, cast and crew, will be present on the red carpet. So please don't miss that one. And definitely come through to the Garden Court on Friday, 18 hours. And the last event is a black tie red carpet award ceremony on Saturday, 18 hours, also at the Garden Court Hotel, where we, go through the nominees and select the ultimate winners in the set categories. Aside of that, because I mentioned that there's a COVID-19, so aside of these physical activities that I just listed, we are grateful for the partnership with Africa Film Producers, who are based in Ghana, and who are partnering with us on such a level that they managed to put for us together beautiful master shares, which are master classes happening every day of the festival, meaning Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. We'll also share the posters, so you'll get to see the topics under the master shares that we have prepared. It is online via Zoom, so basically anybody within the country and beyond can connect and share their views and learn from the filmmakers all over Africa and Europe, which is really brilliant. And we treasure this partnership so much. We hope that will continue in the years to come.
Awesome. No, that's really great to hear. It's been a pleasure hearing you guys' stories. I think people can finally put faces to the name SOTAMBE, like the people behind it. I'm not sure if this has ever been done before, but yeah, no, it's been an honor interviewing you as well. Even for me, who's worked with the company, I've also learned a lot from you guys, seeing the behind the scenes. So yeah, I think my final words would be, if there are people who are willing to join in partnership, in sponsorship, in any kind of way, it may not really need to be financial. I think like Martina mentioned, things like whether you're lodge, providing accommodation or providing transport or providing all those forms of sponsorship, even if it's referring young people into some of SOTAMBE's programs, that in itself is support. And it's something that will give back to the community, because really the media space needs to now begin to develop roots and begin to become a tree, no longer just seen as a sideshow. So yes, no, thank you so much, Mr. Danny Mwale. Thank you so much, Martina Mwanza. We're looking forward to seeing you guys at the festival. I believe our next session, we're going to have it with judges. So those of you who are watching, looking forward to having them with us tomorrow on the 15th of September, same time. And yeah, have a good evening and all the best. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so very much. Have a good evening.
Blessings to Africa. Yes, blessings everywhere. Green vibes. Alaji, Sela. For Mother Nature.